So, hey guys, today we're going to be taking another look at Horus because I realized something about Horus that I shouldn't have missed. If I look at how the Horus cards actually function, some things that didn't make sense to me are starting to make a little bit of sense. So, with the field spell, this field spell looks like utter trash, and I have absolutely zero understanding of why this field spell exists. So, during your main phase, we can add a Horus monster from your deck to your hand, and then place one card from your hand on the bottom of the deck. So this clearly means that you should be wanting to put not just a brick, but likely a garnet back into the deck, right? So not too strange there, but we'll move on. You can only use this effect of Walls of the Imperial Tomb once per turn. If you activate the effect of Horus, the Black Flame Deity, you can draw one card. So none of this is that notable, but you have to keep in mind that this is a field spell and that this puts back one card. And it probably isn't going to be used in a really good deck, in my opinion, from what you can tell off of this field spell. And just the Horus cards in general don't function that well, I guess. And then we also have Imseti to put a card into our graveyard, as well as the ability to add a King Sarcophagus. So we don't have to super worry about all of these different Horus guys, but what I will mention, let's see, is that we should check this card here. And let's see. Horus monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects that do not target them. Why does this line of text exist? So, after analyzing all of these specific things, there actually is one deck that, well, kind of meets the conditions for all of these different things, and that would be Dark Magician. So, if if we have King Sarcophagus here, it actually has synergy with specifically Eternal Soul. So, as you can see here with this colon here, this is actually an effect, but it's a mandatory one. If this face-up card leaves the field, destroy all monsters you control. And this right here protects your forest cards from Eternal Soul. That's what this is doing effectively. And there is another synergy, I guess, if we have the fusion monster over here, Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. This allows you to protect your spells and traps so that they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, protecting, I guess, technically Eternal Soul and King Sarcophagus. And then if we go back to the field spell, the field spell could technically be used to put back maybe an illusion of chaos, maybe it could put back a dark magician, whatever, right? And that's perfectly fine, and you still have things you can discard as well off of the Imseti. So if we pull up Imseti here, there actually is a pretty good dark magician card to just send, and that would be specifically Soul Servant. This is probably the best one to send to the graveyard, because if this is in your graveyard, right, you can banish this card from your graveyard, draw cards equal to the number of Palladium monsters, Dark Magician, and or Dark Magician Girl with different names on the field and in the graveyards. So if you have an extra Soul Servant, you would put it in the graveyard or something like that. I'm sure there might be other use cases, but you would also put like a Dark Magician in your graveyard, right? And if we look at the field spell, it would be too cracked probably with Magician Souls if you just raw added a card. I think that might be the idea. I'm not 100% sure, but Magician Souls can send Walls of the Imperial Tomb after you grab Imseti and King Sark, so you don't really need this field spell anymore, and you could instead change it for, I guess, like a Magician Salvation later. And yeah, we get the draw off of this, so it's probably meaningful, somewhat, being able to somewhat consistently-ish use this. And we can also put back extra copies of Walls of the Imperial Tomb. We can also save them to send with Magician Souls. You essentially have some options, and you can also put back, of course, the Horus cards with both Illusion of Chaos and Walls of the Imperial Tomb if you so wish. So we have some options in that regard as well. So that that it means it's pretty logical to build just Dark Magician Horus, I'm sure, right? And I just never noticed this. But another deck that, of course, would synergize very well with the Horus cards, I believe probably Blue Eyes, actually. So the synergy with Blue Eyes is just pretty simple. Well, we have a bunch of level 8 guys, trade in. Yup. That's it, right? So these guys are level 8, these guys are also level 8, so you can trade in them and you can send your not so useful like Blue Eyes cards into the graveyard. So there is that idea, and you can also do rank 8 plays. And this can just, well, maybe Horse cards won't like necessarily get you all the way across, but if they buy you time to get your Blue Eye stuff like active and you can grind out the Horse cards, maybe that's an idea, but I'm not super interested in Blue Eyes Horus today, so we won't think too much about this. But yeah. So today we are going to be building Dark Magician with Horus, and this should work out pretty well. And real quick, I want to check this card out real fast, because this card actually has a really interesting effect. So it requires specifically 2 level 7 spellcaster monsters, but the effect is pretty unique. While this card has material, you can activate a quick play spell card or a trap card from your hand during your opponent's turn by detaching 1 material from this card at activation. If this card is if this XYZ summon card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if this XYZ summon card you control is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect. So does it have to be... it doesn't require material for this, okay. You can special summon a dark spellcaster monster from your hand or deck, and you can destroy 1 card on the field. So this can summon any dark spellcaster. Jinzo is unfortunately a dark machine, so I have no idea what this can summon exactly, but this can summon any dark spellcaster. Neato. But the first effect is pretty interesting in that we can activate any trap cards we want from our hand. Well, which is pretty cool. I don't know of any other card like this, but yeah. Pretty interesting effect, all things considered. You can probably do something interesting with this. But moving on. We'll probably need copies of Dark Magician. We'll probably just go 3 souls, the Illusion of Chaos. And that's probably good. And we'll need probably, I think we go 3 walls. And I'm not sure what we run everything else at, ratio-wise. We'll just throw in whatever in the extra deck, and we'll technically work it out later. Secrets of Dark Magic should be okay, and this just requires Dark Magician plus any dragon monster. Ooh, it requires a dragon monster. So, how do we get a dragon for Dark Magician the Dragon Knight? I guess we can use maybe the Timaeus. Let's see. You can send a spellcaster monster or 1 spell trap that mentions Dark Magician from your hand or face up field to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a spellcaster monster. So we would need Timaeus, the United Dragon, in hand, and this does mention Dark Magician right here. So maybe this is useful for something. Let's see. Or a spell trap that mentions Dark Magician. So we cannot add Timaeus off of the Dark Magical Circle. I'm not 100% sure how we can utilize Timaeus the United Dragon, actually. But you know what? It is a dragon, so that's something. So maybe we should throw in some Viscerals or something. Don't really want to banish our own cards, though. But the fusion spell is actually a quick effect. So we could use these 2 together, kinda, right? And then on the field, this guy's name becomes like Dark Magician, so should work out, I think. Okay. This should be possible to add to our hand as well. So let's throw in just 2 copies, I guess. And then I believe we also want Rod. And Eternal Soul, I'm not sure how many copies we play, probably 2 or 3. And then we want Salvation, I'm pretty sure still, like 1 copy of Salvation doesn't seem bad. And then, what's this? I have to ask, target 1 Dark Magician monster you know. Summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions that monster on the field as material using it as the fusion material. I don't think this allows us to make Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, does it? If it does, this would be worth playing, I guess. Fusion, summon one fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions that monster on the field as material using it as the fusion material. Does this not require any other fusion materials? So do I not require a dragon if I do that? I don't remember. Or if I still do. It doesn't say the location from which we use, it's implying that we only use the one monster. Very confusing. Anyways, I guess we can just throw in a Dark Magician Girl for fun, throw in some like hand traps and put in some more Horus cards, I guess. We could easily send the extra King Sarks as well, so they're not like that bricky if we think about it. A little bit, I guess. Could be worse. Alright, let's see. Dark Magician Girl. Then let's do some staples, I guess. So, Bloss, hold by Imperm, and then we'll see how many, like, bestial cards we can fit in. With the bestial cards, I believe they should work really well with Magician Souls. So the idea, I think, with specifically the bestial cards is that, what we can do is we can send Branded Regain to the graveyard and then reset it with Branded Beast, so that's pretty cool, I guess, if we can manage that. So, pretty interested in that. And then we have Magnuma, I guess. Oh, and then Magnuma can add the dragon. Oh, that's an idea. Not bad. And we'll go to about 45, I guess. Let's see how many Horus cards we can fit in here. Horus cards, let's see. 1, 2, 3. And that's all the ones we need. Then one more copy of King Sark, so we at least have 2. We can run 2 to 3 copies and it shouldn't be that big a deal, I think, right? And here we should have a somewhat competent list. The extra deck, I'm not going to bother finishing that right now, but in general we can put stuff in like Psychic and Punisher, SP, Artemis, whatever. And Imduck, I believe, is good as well. But here, let's see what this hand does. So with Magician Souls, that doesn't do like insanely a lot, but here's an idea. We can use Magician Souls to put Dark Magician into the graveyard, and then we can use that to special summon either Serenir or Magnamut, so that is actually not that bad. Yeah, and this allows us to get into Lubellion, and we have Secrets of Dark Magic here, which allows us to make not much. There is the target we could put in our extra deck, I believe, though, for a Dark Magician Girl. But yeah, I don't know if that's really worth or not. Okay, next hand. Well, we have Magician's Rod, and then we have Dark Magical Circle and Soul Servant. So we can stack a card on top of our deck to add off of the Dark Magical Circle, and then we can rearrange it so we know our draw off of Soul Servant. If we don't like the draw, we can normal summon Magician's Rod to add something, shuffle the deck a bit, and then do a draw again. So what are we supposed to grab off of Rod here, actually? Add a spell trap from your deck to your hand that mentions Dark Magician. Alright, so Rod can add us Secrets of Dark Magic, I guess. But we have to see what we would get off of Circle, anyways. So next 3, it would, well, what would we put on top of our deck with the Soul Servant, actually? So this specifically adds Dark Magician, or a spell trap that mentions Dark Magician. So let's see. That is Dark Magician or mentions Dark Magician. So that means we have to put Salvation on top, I think, right? That or we put Magician Souls on top. Has to be one of those two, I think, right? And then this doesn't add us any monsters, so yeah. It's the best to put Souls on top, right? Actually, we can draw it. Can we add Souls off of this? No. Then okay, I guess would we have to go with Dark Magician? With Dark Magician on top? And then can we discard Dark Magician somehow? If we form a fusion summon and we make like Dark Magicians, yeah, that would put them into the graveyard and then we can draw. So this card would get us. Well, let's do the next three. King Sark, because we can shuffle with Magician's Rod before we use Soul Servant, yeah. So we'll consider this shuffled and then we get King Sark, Fusion of Chaos, Magician Souls in that order, but we only know King Sark technically here. So we would draw into this because we should draw one. The Dark Magicians does not count as Dark Magician for Soul Servant, does it? Let's see. So your Dark Magician and our Dark Magician girl with different names on the field and in the cards. The Dark Magicians. Does this count? I don't think so. Okay. So we can only draw up to maybe 3 or 4 off of Soul Servant, so we're drawing 3 here, I guess. Okay. At best. So in this case, I think we just draw the 1 and we just get the King Sark. And okay, that's fine. And then here we have Walls of the Imperial Tomb, which we can just use, put back, I guess, Imseti, and this would just be Ashbait, so that's fine. And then we can grab King Sark, and then we also draw a card. What do we discard here? We can discard Magician Souls or the Drow Swarm. So that's a little bit awkward with this build, but if we were to play purely Magician Souls and Imseti, it would be a lot easier and it would make more sense, I think. Rather than throwing in the Bestials as well, this is affecting the consistency a bit, so probably remove the Bestials, I guess. And then it'll be a little bit better, but yeah, for the most part this is mostly functional. It's just kind of hard to get enough engine to do what we really want, as expected, right? Kind of not like the most Z tier deck imaginable, but you know, there's synergies between like a lot of the cards. So the primary issue I think is that the Horus and Bestial cards don't really have good synergy, so that's about it, right? So yeah. Extra deck, I'm sure we could still work out link plays whenever necessary, but I'm sure if we just used just the Horse cards, we can just make Apollosa, honestly, and just pass on that with like Dark Magical Circle and maybe an Eternal Soul, and that would be good enough, honestly, right? We also have the ability to do some draws, so that's very neat, right? And then we would be able to do this like every single turn, pretty much. Well, not Magician Souls if we just ran Horus plus Dark Magician, but if we ran Bestials plus Dark Magician, we can send our copy of Regained every single turn, and that just gets us a draw every single turn, which I find like very interesting. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.